Couchers, we got a jam-packed episode for you today. We're going to talk about Napheesa Collier and her injuries and what that means for Unrivaled. Anthony Joshua and his incident in Nigeria and what does that shape up for him? We're going to talk about Miami and their upset of which college football team fell short against Miami. We're going to talk about those Diggs boys. They found themselves in quite the predicament this week. Then we're going to talk about Christian Barmore and what that means for the Patriots with all these allegations going around. Picks, Mike, are you ready to roll?
Hey, let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of Professional Couch Coaches with Doc and Mike. It is your girl, Doc, here with my brother from another mother, Mike. How are you feeling? It is January 1. We have entered the year of our Lord and Savior 2026. How are you feeling, Mike? How are you feeling today?
Man, I'm making it through, man. I caught some bug, something, I don't know what it was. Your boy was down and out yesterday. I mean, for the count. I don't know what was going on. I ain't had no appetite, so I was sick because your boy like to eat. I probably
Yeah.
ate one thing yesterday. How you feeling?
I actually feel better than you sound, so that is awesome. No, I'm good. I'm good. It is a beautiful day in Houston, so I have no complaints. We have made it to another year.
Yeah,
Um,
Happy New Year.
that's right. Happy New Year, Couchers. We glad y'all are here tuning in. We got a great show for you guys today. You ready to jump into it, Mike?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. All right. First on the docket, we have Napheesa Collier is going to miss the entire Unrivaled season. Um, and for our listeners that don't know, check this out. Unrivaled is a women's basketball league that Napheesa and Brianna Stewart actually created. And they use it as an alternative to, well, we have discussed in length that the WNBA does not pay very well. And their season's very short. So they use it as a way for players to continue to play and make money in their off season.
Mm-hmm.
And but Napheesa is going to have surgery on BOTH of
Mm-hmm.
her both of them, both of her
Both.
ankles. Yeah. So she is gonna miss the Unrivaled season. And the Unrivaled is like a a 3-on-3 tournament, basically. Um and they do like one-on-one drills like against each other also as the start of the tournament. So it's a really cool to watch. If you guys have never tapped in, check out Unrivaled. It starts around the 5th of this month. So
Mm-hmm.
um and and they have a partnership with TNT.
And I actually watched Unrivaled more so than the WNBA season.
I'm just saying, Unrivaled has a partnership with TNT, and I told you I'd be scrapping and scraping to try to find WNBA games. But um, so what do you think about Napheesa having this surgery? She'll be out for like 4 to 6 months. So um, that would put her into the WNBA season, assuming they
Yeah,
have one.
yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, but she got to do what's best for her. If it's getting surgery and protecting herself for the long run, then do that because she don't want to be 50 and arthritis is real. So protect yourself. Do what you got to do for you. Um, more blessings to her. Hopefully, everything work out after the surgery. So
Yeah. So this is the PSA for everybody to check out Unrivaled, although Napheesa will not be playing. So everybody check it out though. So should be coming to a TV near you soon. Speaking of incidents, did you hear about what happened with Anthony Joshua?
yeah, sadly, I did.
Now it's weird. For audio only listeners, I have a picture of the car that Anthony Joshua was in. And he was recently in a car accident while over in Nigeria. It made the news. This might have been Tuesday, maybe 2 or 3 days ago. And he was with it was him and two other people. The two other people passed away in the car accident.
Hmm.
Video was circulating of Anthony Joshua being pulled out of the vehicle. Um, and he's a really big guy, and he just looked like he was just holding on for dear life. It took a lot to get him out the car.
Hmm.
So there was a lot of discussion about one. Okay, some of these discussions were ignorant, but I'm going to bring them up because this is what was being had. But they were like, why was he in Nigeria? That was the first question.
Yeah.
I think that's an ignorant question personally because I'm like, you can visit anywhere. Like Nigeria is like actually a really beautiful country. It's just it's like most places that get bad raps. Like,
Hmm.
you know, so two, they were like, so the first thing was why was he in Nigeria? The second thing was like because he was in Nigeria, they were like, they were people, these are people on the internet. So don't hold it with it's like a grain of salt. Just, hear it out. But they were like talking about healthcare and things of that nature, which also falls into the category of being ignorant because now they're
Hmm.
like, oh my God, he could have died over there. I could die in Houston. Okay.
Right. Right.
And they have premier hospitals, so they say. But I could die in Houston.
Right.
But that was like some of the discussion about now he was actually over there to do like some humanitarian work is why he was over there, which is a good deed. But a lot of the discussion of what actually happened was the fact now I don't know all the details. I didn't see like a lot written on what actually caused the accident. What I heard was that the vehicle was traveling at a high speed, and that's what caused the accident. I don't know if it was like a Princess Diana situation and I'm referencing to the fact that Princess Diana died in the car because paparazzi was chasing her. So
Hmm.
that's what I mean by that. So I don't know if it was one of those, but they said the car was moving at a really fast pace, and I guess whoever was driving lost control clearly. What are your thoughts on Anthony Joshua, the whole discussion of him being in Nigeria, healthcare, and all that stuff?
Yeah. I have one more discussion that I've seen or read. Um, I've heard that this could be a case of the Illuminati because he didn't throw the fight with Jake Paul. Hey, we were throwing out discussions. I'm just telling you
You,
what I read. I'm not saying that
I,
I believe it. I'm just saying that's what I've heard. Because
I
he
heard
didn't
that
throw the
too.
fight. Okay, I'm just saying I ain't make this up. Like I've seen this is what people are saying. Um, I don't know, man. I don't. I don't want to say like all this conspiracy theory stuff. This man almost lost his life, and he lost two of his best friends. One being his trainer, and the other gentleman. I forget exactly what his title was, but they said that that was like his really close friend. This man going through a lot right now, man. Let's just make sure that he's good, mental state is good, make sure that he can bounce back from this and move on to either, even if he don't box again, to just be productive, in his life. I'm not sure what the cause of it was. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's the part that was kind of lost in the whole big why was he in Nigeria question was, I mean, it's a serious thing. Like you said, he did lose two people that were close to him, and he's alive. So that's something that he has to, reflect on as he recovers from the incident. So, but it is something that made a little noise throughout the sports world and globally, they were talking about it in the world news about uh, the car wreck. So, all right, next topic of discussion. Speaking of, well, there's no segue. I can go to this. Miami University, the U, um, played Ohio State last night. I was actually watching the game. I believe Miami was ranked number 10 in the country, and Ohio State was like number 3 or something like that. Um, and Miami jumped out ahead very quickly in the game. Ohio State tried to come back, but Miami ended up upsetting Ohio State and beat them to move to the semifinals of the college football playoffs. Were you shocked by that, Mike?
I was not shocked by that. Um, these college games there's one is playing actually right now while we're recording. I think is it Oregon and Texas Tech
Yeah, Oregon,
that
Texas,
are playing
Texas.
right now. These
Yep.
college games that are going to be played today are going to be a lot closer and a lot. It's going to be teams that win that people think aren't going to win. I think this is the year of college football defense. It's not going to be no 45 to 50 point games no more. Um, College teams aren't going to let people just run up and down the field like that anymore. Um, so Miami has a really good defense. The knock on Miami is Carson Beck, and if he can be the quarterback that could, push them over the edge or what they need to, just move the ball. Now, although Carson Beck's stats don't wow you, I think he had 138 passing yards and a passing touchdown, which is in most games you'd be like, oh, that ain't, yeah. But he did what he needed to do at the times where it needed to be done, which is like big third downs and just keeping the ball in their possession and keeping the offense moving. He did that. Ohio State, man, I think a lot of times now Ryan Day is a very good coach and he's a very good offensive coordinator. He has a very brilliant offensive mind, but I think at times he was trying to force the ball. He was trying to make Ohio State move the ball against an aggressive offense. He was trying to fight fire with fire. Sometimes you just got to take what the defense give you. If they're gonna be aggressive, check the ball down. Like if they gonna rush the passer all out, just all out rush the passer, you know what to do as an offensive coordinator to combat that. Make the offense slow down. You got to run the ball or run some draws, run something that uses their aggressiveness against them. Now that screen pass that they threw, that would have been great if the receiver would have blocked the guy that picked the
Right.
ball off. Like that would have probably been a really big play because you're using their aggressiveness against them. But everything has to line up. So I think that was just a couple of things that kind of helped Miami upset Ohio State. But getting back into what we was talking about before, with do we think Miami deserved to be in the college football playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a thing. I mean, because you think as a conference, as ACC, are you gonna
Yep.
send Miami? Are you gonna send Miami to the college football playoffs, or would you have sent Duke, who won the ACC?
Well, you would think you would have sent Duke, but we see what happened. Miami is proving that the what do they call them, play college football playoff, what do they call the people that pick the teams that go? I can't
Um,
remember what,
I
whatever
know
their,
I forget. Yeah, the
the
committee.
committee, the
Yeah.
committee that picked. I think they made the right choice.
Well, yeah, and then the conferences nominate who they want to be in there. Then the college football playoffs committee they pick from there. The ACC didn't nominate Duke, even though they won the national championship. I mean, the ACC championship. They selected Miami, which was the better team to represent the ACC.
Yeah. Hey. I mean, clearly it's paying off. So somebody made a good decision. I don't know how far Miami's going to go, but they
Yeah,
have already made their.
if they play defense like this, I mean, you ain't got to do but so much. If if you can hold Ohio State's team to 14 points, I mean, you know, hey, you might be all right. But hey, never mind, because the Steelers held the team to 10 points and couldn't win. But that's neither here nor
All
there.
right. That man is hurt, y'all. He is hurt. Um, what's funny about this upset, though, was not funny, but we did a random. I said, "Hey, let's make our picks right now on on the off the cuff," and you had Ohio State in your finals. You didn't have
Yeah,
them winning. You had them losing to Indiana, but you had them going pretty far, and I had them in my semifinals to face Georgia, and with Georgia winning. So, um, hey, we'll see what happens though. But congrats to Miami. My brother growing up was a big Miami Hurricanes fan. So
yeah,
uh
they were a
the
good
the
team back in
program
the day.
they were, and this was the 90s. He used to be rocking his orange and green religiously. So shout out to Miami. They are out there putting belt to ass. That's
Yeah,
what the kids say. That's
or
what the
that's
kids say.
Michael Irvin does after every time they win.
He does. That man love his Hurricanes, boy. I tell you,
Yeah,
you can't tell him no bad about that university.
no,
He's riding with them.
oh
And you
yeah,
know who just showed up at the game the other day?
who?
Mr. Opportunist. I gotta have the spotlight, Ray Lewis,
There you go,
who
Ray.
never comes to Miami games.
Never seen him at a game.
Never. No. But he showed up at that game, and
Pastor Lewis.
he got to have his camera time.
Yeah,
Anyway.
go ahead, Pastor.
Uh right. Speaking of camera time, the Diggs boys made a lot of headline news in the sports world this week. We're going to start with Trayvon,
Hmm.
um, who is a defensive back he was a defensive back for the Dallas Cowboys. And on Tuesday, it was put out on release that he was released from the Cowboys. They were just like dropping him. Just we're done. You go
Yeah,
your way and we're gonna go our way. Um, so he was put on waivers
and
um
that was probably a move from him and his agent.
for him to be released.
Yeah,
So here's the backstory. I think it was a move from the team. Do you know why he was released?
because he was injury prone.
No. So, well, that too. Yes. Trayvon Diggs is injury prone. He hasn't played well. He wasn't really playing this season. Dallas is eliminated from the playoffs. But what happened? The straw that broke the camel's back. He criticized the DC the other day, in a game, when they lost, um, saying that they were in like cover two and they should have been in cover two. They were in cover two too long, and he didn't like the scheme. But he vocally said this to the media. That
Hmm.
was straw. That was straw. Probably number two on other stuff, right? He's injury prone. Now you're criticizing the DC. So they say what happened Christmas Day. The Commanders and the Cowboys played each other.
Hmm.
Trayvon Diggs is actually from the DMV area, so they're from Maryland. And Trayvon said, "Hey, we're playing in DC. The game is done. I want to stay in DC and just stay here with my family, and I'll fly back to Dallas in a day or so when I have to be back at the facility." Because they were playing on Christmas Day, which was last Thursday, they were getting time off. So he probably didn't have to be back at the facility till probably Monday, right?
Right.
So he said he told the coach that he wanted to stay in DC. He requested it, and the coach said no. So then he said he asked the coach again, hey, we're already here. If I fly back to Dallas, all I'm going to do is have to fly back to DC. I'm already here. Why can't I just stay? Coach again said no. He decided, yeah, I'm just going to stay. So, for those that don't know how the NFL work, although that seems like a reasonable request, and perhaps it was, but there's protocol that's associated with if we come to a city together, we leave that city together. That
Unless
is
you're like
established.
hurt, unless you're hurt and
Yeah,
you can't fly.
exactly. Unless it has to be extenuating circumstances, or
Mm-hmm.
you have something before we get to the game has already been discussed. This is not on a whim. I love Vegas so much. I'm going to stay in Vegas for
Yeah.
2 more days. It's not that. You
No.
have to have permission to do that. So as the team, when we board the flight, you're expected to be on the flight. I don't care if you from Arlington. You're expected to be on the flight. So he decided I'm not getting on a flight. I'm just gonna stay in Maryland and I'm gonna be around my family. And hey, you know. So after he did not get on a flight, the team still talked to him. This is what all the people are saying. This is what the analysts and
The
insiders are
insiders.
saying. Yeah, the insiders are saying that after he came back, he did return to Dallas. They said, "Hey man, why didn't you get on the flight?" He said, "I told you guys I was spending time with family." They said, "Provide us proof that you were with family." He couldn't.
Really?
Yep.
He ain't have a picture or
In the moment, they say he couldn't provide proof. And that's when Dallas said, "All right, we're done. We're done." So, so they released him. Um, at one point, so he went on waivers, and then the Packers picked him up. Um, like I said, Dallas is out of the playoff picture, but the Packers will be making the playoffs, so he'll get to join them. He'll have 2 weeks to get acclimated before the playoffs start. Um, what are your thoughts on the Trayvon Diggs situation?
I mean, like you said, I mean, it's a good reason, to want to stay in the city. Um, no, but I don't think any human being will be like, "Oh, that's dumb. Why would you want to stay there?" I think every most people with common sense would be like, "Oh, all right, that makes sense. You want to stay in the city and spend time with family." But like you said, this is your job. If your job says no, regardless how you feel about it, that's just like you putting in a vacation request and they deny it. And you say, "Well, no, I already bought my plane ticket." And they be like, "Well, your vacation request is denied." Like, I mean, I'm sorry. You should have put that in a earlier time. Or you should have told us in advance before you bought your plane ticket. So that way you don't waste your money. And then you still be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not coming to work." Then whatever consequences come from that is going you just got to deal with that. You got to deal with whatever consequences come from that. So hey,
Yep.
this is what's going on. Like, and I think people take entertainment like too far when it comes to like like sports. Like they forget that these are these people jobs and their livelihoods, even though they make millions of dollars, it's still their livelihood, and they have protocols that they have to follow just like anybody at a normal working job that don't pay them millions of dollars. It's still the same premise. Like if you gonna request time off, or you gonna request to spend time with family, you got to do that in an appropriate manner, just like anybody else. So hey man, it's the ramifications of what he got to deal with. So um this is just gonna be another stain on his career. As far as being an NFL player, I don't think too many people are doubting that he's a good NFL player. It's just too many teams aren't going to continue to take the risk on you if you're continuously being an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, and he hasn't been playing well as of late. I mean,
Right.
he's like 2 years removed from having like the best season of his career and
Right.
or any DB's career, but that was 2 years ago. And we know that sports in general is a what have you done for me lately type
Yes.
feel. So people are quick to dismiss you as a player or your attributes when they think that character wise you are not a good fit. And I completely agree with you. Whether or not it made sense or not, if if you were denied the request, then you have to accept the consequences. He seemed to be okay with the consequences because I think he didn't want to play in Dallas anymore. So I think he was forcing the issue regardless. So
Yeah.
I, I think he was like, our season is done anyway. Why the hell am I gonna come back to Dallas? Is what I
Yeah.
think he was thinking. So
But there's ways to go
uh
about it.
yeah, without making it national news, which is what he
Yeah.
did. So,
Right.
uh, in other news, his brother pictured I have Stefon Diggs and Christian Barmore. Stefon Diggs is a wide receiver for the New England Patriots, and Christian Barmore is a defensive tackle for the New England Patriots. And they both of them, BOTH, made headlines Tuesday with Trayvon um, for assault cases that have been brought against them. The defensive tackle Christian Barmore, it was a domestic violence situation. Stefon Diggs is his personal chef is saying that he assaulted her. Um, so these are two Patriots players just this week. And the Patriots are gearing up to make a run in the playoffs, so they think. And now we got two key players facing allegedly. This is all alleged, everybody facing charges. Well, the charges are real, but
Yeah.
if it's true has not been determined. The charges
Right.
are real. What are your thoughts on Christian and Stefon Diggs?
I mean, I saw a post that said, "What is Lord just slipped my mind." The coach at the Patriots, Mike Vrabel. They're
They
like, "What is Mike Vrabel doing over there?"
Yeah.
Um,
Which is actually surprising because Vrabel is kind of like Belichick. He's like
yeah,
kind of
he
no
run a tight ship.
nonsense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Man, this is unfortunate, man. Hopefully these allegations for both players, um, hopefully they're not found guilty or they are not found out to be true. Hopefully, but if they did what they're being accused of, then yes, they should face consequences of what
I agree.
transpired. Yeah. But I don't. It's unfortunate, especially
Yeah,
after the season that they just had. So
and for our couchers, the way the NFL works, because so sometimes when somebody is accused of something, the general public wants consequences immediately, but the NFL works just like our judicial system.
hmm
The NFL's not going to do anything until the NFL conducts its own background, its own research. And the NFL does not care if somebody is legally found guilty or not. If the NFL, I mean, if they're found guilty legally, they're definitely going to be penalized.
yeah,
However, they could be found not guilty legally, but the NFL will still say, no,
you
that is
should need
not
to
going to fly.
you should need to brought this light to yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you could look at cases like Justin Tucker,
hmm
who was accused of sexual misconduct. and there were no legal charges. The NFL did its own research. And was he found guilty or not? We will never know. But I will say he was suspended for 11 games this season and is currently not on any NFL team after being on a prominent NFL team for 14 years.
Yep.
So you do with that information you want to,
And
but
was viewed as the best kicker in the NFL for years.
yes, and was considered a future Hall of Famer. So
Hmm.
you do with that information what you will. And that's just like Deshaun Watson, legally, no charges. I mean, no criminal guilt was placed upon him.
Yeah.
However, he too was suspended by the NFL.
Hmm.
And you do with all that information whatever you would like, but the way the NFL probably has the best investigators like the FBI and CIA. So
Yeah. They have
they
their own
they're
team of lawyers. Yeah. And
so they're
investigators.
so they're about to do some digging,
Uh
and
huh.
it if whether or not these plaintiffs go forth and are like, yes, I'm gonna go with the judicial route, whatever. Whether the city itself says, you know what, we couldn't find any evidence, it is not gonna matter. And if the NFL finds out that they did anything that they weren't supposed to do that violates the shield, they most definitely will be punished. It won't be this year because that's not
Hmm.
how it works. But next season, even if it means they're suspended or whatever, fined, same thing, we get suspended, whatever, it's gonna, it will play out.
Look at
So,
Rasheed Rice.
yes, yep. So, the NFL is gonna do their due diligence. That
Yeah.
is one thing I will say, like, the NFL gets a bad knock for a lot of things, but if they're on there, you're not about to mess up the brand.
Mm-mm.
You will not fuck up the brand.
Nope.
That's where the NFL is
And
now.
if you make them look
Um,
bad, no. Yeah.
yeah. The days of being the cocaine cowboys and having attempted murder charges and all that and getting to play, that's gone. That
Yeah,
is
that's
out
over.
the window.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Um, so we'll see what happens with the Patriots, and I think it's gonna be a story we'll probably have to pick up in August.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
We won't hear about this again until maybe after the draft or
mm-hmm,
sometime around there. Yeah.
yeah,
Once their legal cases, kind of get, but you know how long it takes the judicial system to even have a court case of this magnitude. It'll be made by the time they even have court.
exactly. So that's why I say that.
Hmm.
You got anything else before we wrap up this episode?
No, that's it.
All right, my boy, we're gonna
Yeah.
catch y'all
Make
next
sure y'all
time.
like, follow, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, please, so you'll know every time that we post something. And as always, peace.
Peace.
So this has been another episode of Professional Couch Coaches. Please make sure to like, follow, and subscribe and hit that notification bell one time. And as always, peace.